Hello students, I am Abhishek Kumar, your physics lecturer. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic of heat and thermodynamics, and that is heat transfer. Heat transfer, there are three modes of heat transfer. First mode is called conduction, second is called convection, third is called radiation. Suppose I am demonstrating this with a very simple example. Suppose you are preparing tea, okay, and there is your utensil pot on a stove like this. This flame is being supplied from this stove to this utensil. There is a water inside it, okay. The very first thing, the heat transfer is from the bottom of that pot, the utensil, to the top. This heat transfer is through solids like this, and this is due to thermal collision of the intermolecules. They get energy, heat energy, and their intermolecular speed, RMS speed increases, and a frequent collisions take place. Due to that collision, heat is being transferred. This is called stepwise heat transfer. The medium itself is not moving, rather it is only transferring the heat. This method is called conduction. So conduction is, we can write, due to thermal collisions of medium particles, okay. In this, medium itself is not moving. Although conduction takes place in all three states, like in solids also, in liquid also, in gases also, but obviously for the collision to be more significant, the compact structure is needed, and that is more in solid. That's why conduction is most effective in solids. Next one is convection. Now see this example again. The water inside this utensil, this is getting heat, its density increases, the temperature increases, and density decreases, it becomes lighter. So if it becomes lighter water will go up, and the cooler water, heavier density, will come down. So there is a temperature gradient also, delta temperature variation according to the distance also, and due to this temperature gradient, the medium particle, the water itself, is moving. So the water in the bottom of that pot is going up. So when medium moves, like liquid and gas, they move due to temperature gradient, that is called convection. This is due to movement of medium particles. Medium particles are moving. Third is radiation. If you will put your hand here, you are not touching the flame, but you are feeling the warmth. This is due to the propagation of electromagnetic radiations. So we can say radiation, this is due to EM waves. So these are the three topics that we have to discuss in heat transfer. We will see the important question topic one by one in all these three. Now we will see conduction. The first topic, conduction, is due to the thermal collisions, medium particles are transferring energy. See, this is a solid and its ends are at temperature T1 degree Celsius and T2 degree Celsius. Obviously from higher temperature to lower temperature, heat is flowing. Rate of flow of this heat, this is called H, which is known as heat current, okay. Heat current is rate of change of heat energy with respect to time, dq by dt. This is equal to Ka dt by dx. K is the area perpendicular to the flow. See, most of the students think that A is the cross sectional area. Let me clear you, A is not cross sectional area. First you have to see the displacement of heat flow, and that area must be perpendicular to that heat flow. See, in this question, heat is flowing from T1 to T2, this is the direction of flow, right? So this will be perpendicular to this flow. This is why cross-sectional area will be taken in this diagram. But suppose in some question, heat is flowing like this is the rod and heat is flowing like this. And see, heat is flowing like this. Means what? Means the lower end has been maintained at higher temperature and the upper end at lower temperature. Since heat is flowing like this is the displacement of heat flow. So perpendicular to this flow, that is this curved surface area will be taken. So in this formula, A is area perpendicular to the heat flow, not cross-sectional area. And the third quantity is dT by dx, that is the temperature gradient. We will describe temperature gradient significance in later topics. Here first get the formula. Heat current is Ka into temperature gradient. K is called coefficient of thermal conductivity. In last year NEET in 2019, unit for thermal conductivity was asked. You can see in this formula, K is the thermal conductivity, dQ by dt means energy by time. This can be termed as power. So SI unit for power will be watt. See watt. Area is meter square divided by length, meter square by meter, that is meter is left, meter will go in denominator. So meters power is -1 and temperature will also go in denominator. So Kelvin power is -1. So the SI unit of thermal conductivity is watt per meter per Kelvin. You have to be very sure of the unit and dimensions of various quantities in some chapters like waves and in thermodynamics or in optics. You have to be very aware because these small quantities, units and dimension are very frequent in NEET. Okay, so now we will see some application points, question points on the conduction topic. We are now done with the basic formula and basic concept theory of conduction. Now see what kind of questions are being asked on conduction. The very first thing that you should know about conduction is the steady state. Actually, when we discuss conduction, there are many states, the initial state, the transient state and then the steady state. But we discuss steady state because before that conduction is unstable and temperature of any portion have not attained the final value. So a steady state, if I am saying that temperature of this end is T1. So this is constant temperature I am saying. I am not saying that this is temperature T1 at time t and after time 2t it will be something else. I am not describing like this. What I am saying, temperature of this end is T1. Means I am taking this end temperature as constant. This is only possible when steady state have been achieved. So if no state is given in the question in conduction, we by default take it steady state. So we have to basically solve conduction in our NEET question in steady state. So what exactly is steady state? Steady state is when heat current H, you can see here, when heat current H is constant. Heat current is constant means rate of flow of heat is constant, means heat is still flowing but with constant rate. It is not like heat flow becomes 0, heat is not flowing. This is not the case. Heat is flowing but with a constant rate, uniform flow. Okay. Now see, if H is constant, so what exactly is H? H is Ka delta T by delta X. This is constant. Thermal conductivity for a material is constant already. Area according to dimension is constant. So basically for H to be constant, delta T by delta X needs to be constant, right? So if delta T by delta X, that is our temperature gradient. If this is constant, means delta T is proportional to delta X. Now there is a very important conclusion on this basis. See, in steady state, if this end's temperature is T1, suppose this is T1, this is a solid. So temperature of other points cannot be T1. Temperature of this point A is unique and this is T1. Temperature of some other point B will again be unique and that will be T2 not equal to T1. Means temperature of all the points are different. Why this is so? Suppose if I am taking that temperature of A is equal to temperature of B, that is if I assume that in steady state temperature is constant, temperature of A equal to temperature of B, then on that basis I have to write that delta T equal to 0. If temperature is equal, obviously their difference is 0, isn't it? If temperature difference is 0, from this discussion, if delta T is 0, delta X must be 0, means change in X, change in position is 0. Now you yourself think, if delta X of 2 points are 0, they are basically 1 point, because if they are 2 different points, there must be some X between them. So if delta T is 0, delta X is 0, means point is 1 only. So temperature difference of a point with itself can be 0. Temperature of 2 different points can never be equal. So do remember, in steady state, first H, that is heat current, is constant, and second, temperature of different points are unique in themselves, but total temperature of the rod is non-uniform. So first is H constant, and second information that you must write is temperature is non-uniform. Okay, now on the basis of steady state, there is a common question, temperature of the interface. See, these are the two slabs. You can see K1 and K2 are their thermal conductivities, T1 and T2 are the end point temperature, and on the basis of this arrow, we can assume that T1 is at higher temperature than T2. Okay, what we have to find here, temperature of the interface, that is T. What is T? As we have already discussed, in steady state temperature of different points are different, but also in steady state H1 is equal to H2. The heat current is constant. Constant between what? Constant between any 2 points. So the heat current in the first slab must be equal to the heat current in the second slab. So when we will write H1 equal to H2, that means K1 A T1 minus T, as T1 is at higher temperature than T2 because heat is flowing from T1 to T, upon L1. We can take the length of first slab as L1 and length of the second slab as L2, equal to K2 A T minus T2 divided by L2. This is H1 equal to H2. From this, A can be cancelled, K1 T1 by L1 plus K2 T2 by L2 divided by, we have to calculate T. So T would be K2 by L2 plus K1 by L1. This is the temperature of the interface. This minus T will come here, it will plus, this minus T2 will come there and it will also be plus. So this is temperature of interface. You can memorize the formula in a trend that in numerator, you can see in numerator it is summation of Ki Ti by Li, but in the denominator it is summation of Ki upon Li. This is the temperature of interface. Now we will discuss the second application topic on basis of conduction, equivalent thermal conductivity. Equivalent thermal conductivity is calculated according to the thermal resistance combination. See, this was our heat current formula, Ka dt by dx. Okay, it can be rearranged as dt, temperature difference, upon dx upon Ka, or delta T upon delta X upon Ka. See, what is H? This is the rate of flow of heat, flowing rate. What is delta T? This is the flowing cause. Flowing rate is equal to flowing cause divided by the resistance. This exactly happens in Ohm's law. Current equal to potential by R. What is current? Flowing rate of the charge. What is potential difference? cause of flow. And what was the denominator? Electrical resistance. In fluid mechanics also, while discussing the Postulage equation, we write volume rate of flow equal to flowing cause in fluid is the pressure difference divided by the fluid resistance. In the same manner, flowing rate is equal to flowing cause here delta T divided by the resistance. So, what is the resistance? You can see delta X by Ka. This is the same formula we study in electricity. There the formula for resistance we write is rho L by A. Rho is the resistivity. If we will write that in terms of conductivity, that will be L by sigma A. So, delta X is the length A, and in place of sigma electrical conductivity, what we are writing here is the thermal conductivity. So, remember thermal resistance formula. Now, when equivalent conductivity is being asked, what we do? We just see the combination of the rods, whether in series or in parallel or in both. Accordingly, we will use a resistance formula of series, parallel, or whatever is combination is given, and then we will solve the thermal conductivity. So, now see this question. In this question, two rods you can see. Calculate K equivalent. Equivalent thermal conductivity is required in this question. Temperatures are given as T1, T2, and you can see the arrow. Heat is flowing from T1 to T2. By looking at this arrangement, you can easily judge that these two are in series combination, right? So, as they are in series combination, R equivalent in series is R1 plus R2. So, we will write the formula. R equivalent means the two rods are one rod, then the resistance is called. If we assume that two rod as one rod, this resistance will be said R equivalent. So, R equivalent is complete one rod is L1 plus L2 upon K equivalent into A. R1 is L1 by K1A, R2 is L2 by K2A. We can cancel area here, as area you can see is same for both. So, 1 by K equivalent is 1 by L1 plus L2, L1 by K1, L2 by K2. This is the equivalent thermal conductivity. Same question was asked in, you can see in NEET 2017, where these two rods were placed one over the other and they were asking you for K equivalent. So, what kind of arrangement is this? This is parallel. Why this is parallel? How to decide parallel? How to decide series? Don't ever decide series parallel by the arrangement. They all have got their own condition. Like in series combination, H must be same. So, whatever H is through the first is going to the second. In the same way, for parallel combination, delta T temperature difference for both the rods must be same. So, see in this situation, if H is flowing like this, means left end is at higher temperature, right end is at lower temperature. So, T1 and T2, the temperature difference is same for the rod 1 and same for the rod 2. So, these two rods are having the same temperature difference, that is why these are in parallel. Never decide series or parallel according to their arrangement. Go decide with the condition. For series, H same, for parallel, delta T same. Okay? So, for this we will write 1 by R equivalent is 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. And what is R equivalent? L by Ka or delta X by Ka. Write their value. K equivalent, equivalent area for the combined rod would be A plus A 2A. So, equivalent area is 2A, length is the same. This is K1A by L, K2A by L, and from here A by L will be cancelled. And what is your K equivalent? K equivalent is K1 plus K2 by 2. So, this is a very simple pattern, just note it down. Whenever equivalent conductivity is required in the question, you have to solve that according to the concept of thermal resistance. Moreover, how to decide series parallel? H constant means rods are in series, and delta T constant means they are in parallel. Okay, now we will see one more question, how to calculate thermal conductivity equivalent value. So you can see two concentric and coaxial cylinders. These are maintained at some temperature, and you can see the arrow, the direction of H. This is from top to bottom, means this end has been maintained at T1 degree Celsius, say T2 degree Celsius, and T1 is obviously higher than T2. Also, temperature difference for both the cylinders is T1 minus T2. It means their combination is in parallel. Okay. So, for equivalent conductivity, we must use 1 by R equivalent is 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. R is delta X by Ka or L by Ka. So, that reciprocal is K equivalent, area equivalent. What is the equivalent area? Suppose equivalent means what? If you are considering these two as one, suppose you are gift wrapping this cylinder and gifting to someone, that someone will see only the bigger cross section from the gift wrap. So, if we will consider that two cylinders as one, the area of the bigger cross section will be the equivalent area. So, that will be pi 2 r square 4 pi r square divided by L. Okay. 1 by R1 K1 pi r square divided by L, 1 by R2 K2. Now, it is very interesting to notice one thing here. What is area of second cylinder? It is not the cross sectional area, rather this is the area through which heat is entering into the second cylinder. So, the total cross section of second cylinder is 4 pi r square, but out of that 4 pi r square has been occupied by the first cylinder. So, what area is left for the second? It is 4 pi r square minus pi r square, that is 3 pi r square. So, what we will take here? We will take 3 pi r square divided by L, and from here you can calculate K equivalent as K1 plus 3 K2 divided by 4. So, this is how to calculate equivalent thermal conductivity. Okay. Now, see the third application, that is called node method. You can see the three conducting rods. Their endpoint temperatures have been given, T1 for the first rod, T2 and T3. Similarly, L1, L2 and L3 are their lengths, and K1, K2 and K3 are their thermal conductivities. Okay. Obviously, all the temperatures are different, so heat flow is there. If heat flow is there, there is a rate of heat flow, there is a heat current also. So, what is temperature of that junction? What is temperature of that node? This we will find according to the node method or nodal analysis. See, what we will do, we will assume that temperature of the node is minimum or maximum. You have to assume that optimum, either minimum or maximum. So, I have assumed T0 as minimum. So, obviously, T1, T2 and T3 are greater than T0. If they are greater than T0, heat will flow from these three ends towards O. So, what is the incoming heat? H1 plus H2 plus H3 at O, and from the conservation, what is the outgoing? Since O is, we have assumed O at minimum temperature. So, you know that from minimum temperature no heat will flow, minimum to maximum heat flow is not there. So, what is the outgoing from O? 0. What is incoming at O? H1 plus H2 plus H3, and from conservation these two must be equal. So, equate them. Now, you know the formula of H1, temperature difference upon L by Ka, same for H2, same for H3, and from this expression you can calculate T0. This is how to solve for temperature of a node, nodal analysis. Okay, now moving to the next application point on the basis of conduction. This is growth of ice layer. This is a very important point. I would suggest you to revise this properly. NEET might ask this question Last year in Audition NEET, there was a question on this basis, growth of ice layer. See, what is the concept behind this? Here you can see minus theta degree Celsius. This is the temperature of surroundings and this is a negative temperature. Water is here. If negative temperature is outside, water, if we are saying water, that means its temperature is greater than 0 degree Celsius. So, water is at higher temperature. So, from higher temperature water to lower temperature surroundings, heat will flow. And if this heat is providing the latent heat to the water, water will convert into ice. The fusion, latent heat of fusion is provided. For 1 calorie, 1 gram, 80 calorie of heat is exchanged. So, water will be converted into ice. So, ice layer is gradually there, it is developing on water surface and this process is continued. So, we have assumed that time at any time t when we are observing this, y thickness of ice layer have already been formed and this process is continued. So, after y you can see a dy layer is there, this is forming, then again dy and the process will be continue. Now, after the formation of ice layer, heat is flowing from water to the surroundings through the ice. And what is ice? Solid. So, method of heat transfer that will be dominant over there is conduction. So, what we are discussing is conduction through ice. This is the formula for conduction. Heat current is Ka delta T by delta x. Okay. Heat current is rate of change of heat. What is the heat here? It is mass into latent heat, phase changing heat. So, in place of heat, I am written here ml, d by dt of heat and heat is mass into latent heat. RHS you can see Ka, what is the temperature difference between the two ends, that is 0 minus theta. So, 0 minus theta and divided by the thickness through which heat is flowing, that is y. Okay. Now, from here if we will further solve this, latent heat of fusion, this is constant, d by dt, what is the mass, dm, what is dm? This is density area into y is equal to Ka theta by y. Since A is constant, we are cancel it. Okay. Density of ice into latent heat dy, and if you will cross multiply this y will be here, y dy is equal to K temperature difference into dt. So, basically the thickness layer that is developing is a function of time. So, integrate these two from 0 to t, and 0 is the time when y1 layer was already there. That could be 0 also, no layer could also be 0. So, I am just generalizing this at t equal to 0, y1 layer of ice was already been developed, and after time t the layer thickness increases to y2. So, this rho L y2 square minus y1 square divided by 2 is equal to K theta t, or we can relate that t is proportional to y square. Okay. So, means t1 time for y1, t2 time for y2. So, that must be related as t1 by t2 as y1 square by y2 square. This is a very important topic, revise this very properly. Now, we are discussing heat current, that is conduction through the spherical shell. See, you can see spherical shells here. Inner radius is capital R1, outer radius is R2. Inner shell is at temperature theta 1 degree Celsius, outer is at temperature theta 2 degree Celsius. Let us say theta 1 is greater than theta 2 and heat is flowing like this. So, it will flow from theta 1 to theta 2 from all sections of inner shell to outer shell. During this flow, you can see area. While I was discussing the basic definition of heat current Ka delta T by delta x, I told you that area is perpendicular to the direction of heat flow. So heat is flowing like this, see here. So area will be perpendicular to this, and this area, as heat is here or heat is here or heat is here, with time this area will keep on increasing. Okay. So that is, area is a non-uniform quantity here. Heat current is constant, but area is a non-uniform quantity. So we will discuss by the differential method. This is our formula. We have assumed a very small segment. Here you can see dr. This is a very small segment like this, and from R1 to R2 heat is flowing. So I am just considering a very differential thickness there, dr, through which at a certain time heat was flowing. So for dr, heat current in steady state, heat current is constant for any flow between any 2 points. So heat current for dr is also H. Ka delta theta, I have assumed that temperature difference across dr is d theta. Ka d theta by dr. What is A? Till dr you can see the radius is r. So obviously area would be 4 pi r square. So I can rearrange this equation as dr upon 4 pi r square into H is k d theta. Now dr by r square, from where to where? R1 to R2, and when the heat was at R1, temperature was theta 1, and R2 temperature is theta 2. Now solve this. Dr by r square will give you minus 1 by r, limits are R1 to R2, H by 4 pi, k theta 2 minus theta 1. We were supposed to calculate H. So what is H now? H is k theta 2 minus theta 1, okay, into 4 pi divided by, now you see what is this? This is 1 by, minus his sign is there. So we can change the limit, it will be 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. So you will divide it by 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. This is the formula of heat current through spherical shell. As such similar formula you will also encounter while calculating the capacitance of spherical capacitor. So either you can use this entire derivation, you must know the derivation, why we are choosing differential and why we are doing this. H is constant, why for d theta, because in steady state H is constant between any 2 points. Or you can directly memorize this formula on the basis of capacitance of a spherical capacitor, but this is also a very important formula. Do remember and do revise this properly also. The second method of heat transfer, that is convection. What is convection? Convection we encounter in our daily life also, like near the candle or when water is being boiled. What happens in convection? Heat is transferred from one point to another point through the actual motion of the particles of the medium. Medium is actually moving. Why medium is moving? See, suppose this is some fluid, you can take some gas also or some liquid also, that is why I am saying some fluid is there. From this point at higher temperature to this point at lower temperature, heat is flowing like this. So the substance, the medium, the liquid, the fluid which was actually present there, it will go up, and that fluid which was actually here, it will come down. You can see temperature difference is on a length. I can say this is delta H. So this convection is also due to temperature gradient. This is temperature gradient. So convection is also because of temperature gradient. In convection also, delta T is defined according to delta H. It is not constant. And one more thing that you should remember, that the conduction that we have discussed, conduction is the fastest mode of heat transfer, and radiation that we will discuss in our next lecture, radiation is the slowest mode of heat transfer, but convection is the moderate way, and it is almost negligible in solids, because in solids medium are not moving. So, convection we will discuss for liquid and for gases, and it is also due to temperature gradient, and medium actually moves in convection.